Hey y'all, we are back for Insecure Season 2, Episode 2, Hella Questions. There's a lot that, I wouldn't say there was a whole lot that happened in this episode, but there's definitely a lot to unpack. So the episode begins with Issa and Molly are at Issa's house and they sitting and Molly's laying on a couch that Issa and Lawrence fucked on. The very first line of this episode was, "Y'all fucked?" And then Issa was like, "Why you got all that bass in your voice?" And Issa was talking about how Lawrence hasn't really hit her up since then. Like, she's kind of confused as to how to like approach the situation. Like, are we back together? Are we cool? Where is this going? And she doesn't really know. And Lawrence isn't really giving her the answers that she's looking for, but not really asking. You know what I'm saying? It's like she expects Lawrence to read her mind at this point. Molly asks if that was like a "we're back together" fuck or like a "fuck you" type of fuck, and Issa says she don't know, but deep down she knows she and Lawrence are not back together, but they might be headed in that direction. And I think that's in Issa's mind, that they're headed back in that direction. And right after that scene, Lawrence is working out. He's looking on his phone, and then he starts a text message to Issa, you know, kind of like, it seemed like he wanted to apologize, kind of, but then he just deleted it. And then it's like, damn, like, how do you feel, Lawrence? Like, what the fuck is really going on? Can we know exactly how they both feel? I don't know how soon after season 1 left off that season 2 picks up, but I don't feel like it's been a long enough time to where they both understand how they feel about the situation. So that's why there's just so much like confusion right now, you know? So then we cut to Molly. She's in therapy, and the therapist notices that Molly says "should" a lot when she's talking about her life. And, you know, it's more, the therapist was like dropping some fucking gems, right? She was saying like, we believe what we want and we expect that to influence the external world instead of radically accepting things the way that they are. And I'm like, yes, therapist? Bitch, you sound like my damn therapist. I just came from therapy, actually, which is why this video is going up kind of late. In therapy, I'm also personally learning about radical acceptance and how we just need to accept things for what they are. It is what it is. The past is the past. You can't change it. All you can do is make yourself a better person for the future. And yeah, that's why I said that like I'm a combination of Issa and Molly right now. Like, this show is so fucking real to me. Like, this is my life right now. It's crazy. So then next scene, the girls are at an art exhibit, like the bougie black women that they are. Issa, Kelly, Tiffany, and Molly. And then Tiffany kind of spills a little tea saying that, you know, yeah, you guys just need some time, and Derek was living in a hotel for half of the year. She kind of lets that spill, and I'm looking like, what? And her friends had that same reaction, and she was like, yeah, even the perfect couples go through things. But then Molly's like, so what happened? You're not gonna tell us what happened? This happened last year. We're your friends and we didn't even know this shit happened. But for real, on some real shit, sometime this season, I want to know what the fuck Tiffany and Derek went through, because that would be nice to explore someone else besides Lawrence, Molly, and Issa. I don't know about y'all, but I'm curious as to what Tiffany and Derek went through. They're making plans, and Issa tells them about Lawrence and how she says she's just pretty much like waiting it out because she knows they're not gonna get back together right away, but she also doesn't want to move forward yet in case there is the chance of her and Lawrence reconciling. Which, that makes sense. I think that makes sense. I think that's a smart thing for her to do, because you don't necessarily want to miss your opportunity, but at the same time, you also need to heal yourself in the meantime. And then Kelly is like, oh, so he's not with old girl no more? And then they like, who is old girl? And then Kelly like, oh shit, my bad. But Tiffany the one that told me, and Tiffany's like, damn. They look up Tasha's Instagram and they judge her being petty. That's what we all do. They ask Issa, you know, do you want to see her Instagram? And then Issa's like, nah, I'm good. And then Kelly's like, that's growth. You know, you all mature and shit. And then she goes to the bathroom. She does her little rap and she hypes herself up a little bit. and Molly comes into the bathroom. It's just her and Issa in there. And then as soon as Issa sees Molly, she's like, pull that bitch up. So then Issa is constantly, there's a couple scenes where we cut to Issa. It's only for like a minute or so, but we cut to Issa and she's by herself in her apartment and she's just stalking Tasha's Instagram. So Issa goes to Lawrence's little light-skinned friend, who, thanks to Twitter, I found out his name is Chad. And she's like, you know, is Lawrence here? It was a pretty awkward conversation. Lawrence was, you could tell Lawrence was like being friendly, but at the same time he had to like be an asshole because like, bitch, you cheated on my friend, you know what I mean? But they're making like little small talk or whatever. Pretty much Lawrence isn't there. So then as Issa walks away, he's like, girl, was that made to tell you was using on your hair? I see them edges. That's how you got that growth. I'm like, oh my gosh, shut your stupid ass up. So then next, Lawrence is actually at Tasha's house. So then we cut to Lawrence and Tasha. They're watching that slave show with Regina Hall and Jake from Scandal. And the first episode, people were saying on Twitter like, oh, that's a parody of Underground. And I'm like, I kind of don't really see it, whatever. But this episode, there was a white boy in there and he looked exactly like the dude from Underground. I didn't like really care to like Google to see if it really was him, but he looked just like the master's son on Underground. So I don't know if that really was him, but yeah, this is definitely like some light shade or like, you know, kind of like a parody, spoof, whatever you want to call it, of Underground, this show that they're watching. So, you know, they're watching the show and Natasha asks Lawrence, you know, what's going on? She tells him about like some type of get together her family's having, you know, like, oh, I would like you to come. And then Lawrence is like, I slept with my ex. Awkward. And I was actually happy to hear him say that because we all know he don't want Tasha like that, okay? He does not want Tasha. He just cannot be by himself at this point. And it's like, attention from a girl you don't care about is better than no attention at all in Lawrence's mind. He doesn't want to be alone. He doesn't want to heal. He just wants to fuck his feelings for Issa away. He explains what happened. You know, he went over there and it just happened. And then he gives a very insincere sorry. I was like, that is the most insincere sorry I've ever heard. And Tasha is to the point where she knows that she's just a rebound. She knows that she's like, you know, just there, just something for Lawrence to do to try to distract him from Issa. But I don't think she cares. And she, in her mind, I think she feels like any attention from a nigga that doesn't really care about me is better than no attention at all. He gives that insincere ass sorry, and you know, he doesn't know if he still has feelings for Issa, and then Tasha kicks him out. So then Molly, she's at work in her little power suit. She's looking real cute. She's on a mission to get into the good old boys club. Ever since last episode when she found out that a white man is making more than her, she's, you know, on a kick to pretty much try to prove herself and, you know, join the good old boys club. So then she goes to a hockey game with her white male co-workers, and then she kind of tries to like, you know, buddy with them and shit. But then honestly, this is what I want to unpack with y'all, okay? It's like, sometimes is it even really worth trying to get a seat at the table when you know you're not invited in the first place? Point blank period. Like, if that's like in high school when you try so hard to get into a clique, but you know those people ain't really feeling you like that, so you try to change your personality and kind of try to change who you are in order to be accepted. Like, fuck them, man. Like, fuck trying to get a seat at the fucking table. Like, in the words of Charlemagne the God, go where you are celebrated and not tolerated. It kind of hurts and it sucks, but I feel like a lot of women deal with that, especially women of color. You know, you work hard, you're killing it, but then you're not as celebrated or not as rewarded as your male or your white male counterparts. But at the end of the day, these rich white men ain't checking for you, sis. They're not. They've already showed you that you are devalued. You're going to continue to be devalued. So then, fast forward, Molly's FaceTiming the lady from episode 1, the one who they had to go on a wave party for. Molly's FaceTiming her, like, you know, I missed my opportunity to train. Like, no, she said something like, I learned a lot from you. You know, I would love to still train with you more. The lady's like, sure, you know, I'm in Chicago now. If you don't mind splitting your time between LA and Chicago, I would love the extra help. And then Molly was like, yeah, I would like that. See, that's what you do. You latch on to someone who you share common ground with. She doesn't really have that common ground with these rich white men in this good old boys club, okay? They gonna always look out for them, all right? You latch on to another woman, you know, who's made some moves, who's, you know, where she's at in her career to where you want to get to, and then you learn everything you can from her. So I like that, you know, towards the end of the episode, Molly went where she was celebrated with the lady and not just tolerated with the white men. Okay, so for We Got Y'all, Frida and Issa are talking to the vice principal, who's a black male, and they're saying they need more support from him in order for We Got Y'all to be successful at the school. This motherfucker is problematic because this is a majority Latino school. He's a black male. He says some problematic shit like, oh, maybe, you know, we should just build a wall and have them pay for it. You're in charge of a predominantly Latino school. Like, really? And Frida made a great comment that, you know, I know the oppressed cannot become the oppressor, but you're not, she was talking to Issa, she was saying like, Issa, you're not checking this man on his problematic ass statements. You're not saying what needs to be said. Are you going to check this man? Like, if he was a white man, she didn't necessarily say, Issa, if he was a white man, you would have been all over it, but she pretty much inferred it that you're not checking this man because he's black. And Issa pretty much just like let it roll off her back. And I was very disappointed as well as surprised in Issa in this episode for her to not check him for his statements. And I personally feel like she didn't check him on his statements solely because he's black. And because, you know, technically black people can't be racist, you know, the oppressed can't be the oppressor, but we can still be problematic as hell, you know. And she dropped the ball, and it took her white counterpart to even point it out to her. So then Issa is outside with the vice principal. It's just Issa and the principal now. And he was pretty much, she was saying, you know, thank you for allowing this program to be at your school. And then he says to Issa, you know, we have to stick together because all the other races do it, which is true. And this school used to be all black, and it was just drowning in taco meat, like. And then Issa kind of just like laughs it off. you know, like that fake laugh where it's like, okay, I know I need to say something, but I'm not because I don't want to offend this person who's saying offensive things. Like, I don't know what the logic in that was, but Issa finds out where Tasha works because she was creeping on her Facebook page, and she notices that Tasha works at the bank that's across the street from the Best Buy where Lawrence was working at. So she's like, oh, fuck, that's how the fuck they met. And she imagines herself going into the bank and stealing the shit out of Tasha, but in real life, that didn't happen. She didn't punch her in the face. But when she did see Tasha coming out the bank, she was sitting in the car, and then she saw Tasha coming out. And then she kind of like slumped back like, oh shit, I hope this bitch don't see me. But does Tasha know who Issa is? I wonder if she even really knows Issa's name. She a rebound. She ain't gonna last anyway. So who the fuck cares what Tasha knows? So Lawrence runs into Molly out in the park. Molly's getting coffee, and they have the same type of awkward conversation that Chad and Issa had when Issa went to Chad's house. And, you know, she asks, how are you? You're both broken and you're both feeling bad. Issa cheated, but she's not a cheater. And then she asks Lawrence if he hates Issa, and he says he doesn't. And then Molly asks if Lawrence will take her back, And of course the camera cuts to the next fucking scene. Of course we don't get an answer. I feel like we're not gonna see them together till the end of the season, or maybe even the beginning of season 3. But what I do love, I love that the friends of the significant others ran into each other. You know what I mean? Like Chad and Issa had their encounter, and then Molly and Lawrence had their encounter. It shows that women are just a lot more nurturing and forgiving than men are. Like when Issa and Chad were talking, it was like awkward. Chad was being slightly hostile. But then when Molly and Lawrence were talking, Molly was just like, man, how are you? How's things going? Blah, blah, blah. You know, she was trying to unpack the relationship. But Chad didn't do shit but just be awkward and hostile. And that's the fucking difference between men and women. So then Molly calls Issa, and turns out that was a setup. It wasn't, you know, like randomly like, oh, hey, how you doing? I'm actually bumping into you in the park. Like Molly went over there to make sure that Lawrence saw her. And Molly was saying Lawrence got another apartment and that he doesn't want to get back together. But we didn't hear Lawrence's answer, and that's what kind of fucked me up. Like, because we didn't hear Lawrence's answer when Molly asked if he wanted to get back with her or not, that kind of leads me to believe that Molly is just saying, oh, Lawrence doesn't want to get back together. He doesn't hate you though. She's saying that to get her friend to move on. Because yeah, it's not healthy to just sit around and hope that your man is going to come back. But at the same time, if Issa's not ready to move on, she's not ready to move on. And all she's going to do is break somebody else's heart by getting into a new relationship while she's not over that first person. Just like Tasha ass is going to get hurt because Lawrence is not over Issa. Frankly, Issa doesn't have to move on yet. Let Issa be. Let her fucking chill. Let her heal. So then Lawrence goes to Tasha's house. He's trying to apologize to her, and Tasha's like, oh, you want something to eat? And then Lawrence is like, yeah, cool, whatever. I didn't really care about this scene because all it did was prove what I said earlier, that Lawrence doesn't want Tasha. He just don't want to be the fuck alone. When you try to force moving on, that shit does not work. It doesn't work. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help that other person. Like, forcing that shit ain't gonna do shit for you. Personal experience. Hurt niggas don't know how to be alone. So all he's gonna do is just drag those issues with Issa into his relationship with Tasha. And Tasha honestly doesn't deserve that. She seems like a sweet girl. But, you know, it's life. So then we hear SZA all up and down this episode. I'm like, yes, SZA. Her music is so perfect for this whole season. I hope her music is featured in every single episode this season. So the last scene is Issa on some type of dating app working on trying to fuck her feelings away, which she knows that shit don't work because it's like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound. But, you know, hey, a bitch gotta try. So she sees, she's talking to some random nigga named Ben. I think his name was Ben. And then he was asking her like, oh, do you live around here? Blah, blah, blah. And then she just texts, trying to fuck, TRYNA, fuck, send. All she gonna do is find out that this new random nigga ain't shit. He's not worth your time, and that you need your time alone. But, you know, she's about to do her little rotation, and I'm here for it. I can't wait to see it because I know she's just going to end up back with Lawrence. So it's just going to be funny watching her explore and watching her have all these mishaps with random dudes. And it's going to be so funny watching her in awkward black girl mode. So yeah, I can't wait for that. Oh, speaking of awkward black girl, I did watch it. Some of y'all from the last video recommended it and I loved it. I finished season 1, so now I gotta, if you haven't checked out Awkward Black Girl on YouTube, that's Issa Rae's YouTube series that she was doing before Insecure. And Awkward Black Girl is so much like Insecure, it's not even funny. Like, they pretty much copied the formula from Awkward Black Girl and used it in Insecure. So when you're done watching this video, search Awkward Black Girl, watch all of that shit. Each episode is only like 10 minutes long. So yeah, that's it for my review. What did y'all think about this episode? It was a little slower than last week. There's so much to unpack with the problematic vice principal, you know, Molly trying to force Issa to move on. Even though she was being a good friend and trying to help her, still I feel like Molly just needs to just let the situation be what it is. What do you think about Lawrence and Tasha? Like, do you think that Tasha knows that she's just a rebound and she's just taking this attention for the meantime? We got a lot of shit talking to do down in the comments. So let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you next week for episode